Well, in our previous session, we got to the point that we've selected our teaching to transcribe. The teaching's title is Survival Mode. You see it right here. You'll see it again listed Survival Mode here. And you'll see that the language, the original language is English. You can switch that when there's a different language. Point out a few other things here, that these blocks are what we're actually typing into. This blue box moves on the 11.3 seconds to 15.3 seconds. Then the next block, and these are blocks of time, and these correspond with the times here over. I'm just moving forward on here. You can see here this is situation creates even more is in this block of time from 55 to 57 seconds into the speech. And you got these boxes. That's where you're going to do your editing. And it's a process of making this wording that's spoken match relatively close to that's written below in this closed caption. And there's quite a bit of cleanup to do, because even though we appreciate Google's help with that auto translate, it's just not going to look very good. And another thing, we're trying to get this ready for someone else down the line to translate into more than one language. I like to move this line to the very center. There's nothing magical about the line, but there's the point that you're reading. And you'll notice I'm moving with my mouse. When I hold it over this block of time, this is seconds into the presentation, so I'm going to move it back to the front end of this. Or I could come back here and scroll up on this side, scroll up and down, and this side will get me up and down, but I'm going to start in this first session. Well, first of all, my name isn't Gary, is spelled wrong, so I'm going to spell that correctly. And then I'm going to also start making these blocks of text make sense, and as much as possible end with a period, or at the end of the sentence, or at least a break in the thought pattern. So on this particular one, you can see that there's room for a second line here, but it came down and just left these two words in this other in the second box. So I'm going to copy that with my mouse, cut, and paste it up here so that it's all, if you notice over here in the block, it's all making sense. Hello, my name is Gary Schotten, and today we're going to talk about the subject of, I like to make it just to look a little bit better, this is a title, Survival Mode. And you do as you like. Again, you get a liberty to clean up when you can. Now, when we took that piece up there, it left this next block empty, so I'm going to actually delete that block because I took all the stuff out of it. But the next block, I'm going to start working over here now on the right hand side. I can hit the move button, and you can hear me speaking. You can hear it speaking, and you'll see this line right here. It just passed to the end of this line, and I'm not actually through with that thought. So again, with the mouse, I can drag that box to where I want it and see if that's, there it is. When I heard the word survival mode, I really want that box. If I'm stretching the box, I'm out to the edge right there. Or I could have here grabbed the box and moved the box all the way to the end. So that thought pattern ended with, I'm going to move it back just a little bit. Hello, my name is Gary Schotten, and today we're going to talk about the subject of survival mode. And when it's actually going, it's just ended right there. And that means I'd like to move this one a little closer in so I maximize all my time. And I'm going to see how that works, and says, and I'm going to look at this box. See, that box is too long. And you see this period that's already there? So you can tell me already that I want to take some out of that box, take out that cut because there's a dot there, and add it to the next box. And now we're off into making this thing work. Back to this box. You know, I have friends all around the world, and if I was to describe many of their situations, maybe I would now change that and say, I'll probably add a comma and just put a comma there instead of a period. I'm not the best person in the English language. I'm just trying to make it work. There, they, or, and I could say there, I'm Southern. I could say, for a little better, they are. See how I'm changing this in quote, and I'm going to put it again, since this is my title, my option, survival mode. Is there not a lot of people in survival mode in life and in business? And I'm going to end that, whoops, with a period, with a quote, because I made that a survival. And then I could leave it here. What do I mean? Well, that's a good ending sentence. And then I'm answering that in the next box. Now, you see, down here again, I'm moving this around, and this takes a little coordination, but I want to get this back here so that when I start saying the word, when I say survival mode, they're in survival mode. What do I mean? I move it to where that coordinates with my speaking. And there we go. We're off and running. And this next box, I'm pretty well on time. So I'm going to move this one. Now this one, I might have to grab over here just a little bit, move this one out of the road so I can see the end of it. And I'm filling up these boxes with the amount of text that matches the language, and that's called closed caption. That takes, in my opinion, for me, about an 8-minute lesson. Will take me probably 45 minutes to an hour if I'm really careful and diligent in it, and to accomplish that. And I do try to work it with the future translation in mind, meaning I try to end with complete sentences and try to adjust the wording if I would be guilty of this, of going accidentally repeating myself. Take all those extra ahs out of there. This is not a literal translation. This is closed caption. And we want it to read decent. We want it to read pure. Well, that gets us closed caption for just English to English. Later on, I'm going to talk and show you, we would have someone that speaks in Spanish, that we would have Spanish to Spanish closed caption. We'd have Swahili to Swahili. Obviously, I don't speak those languages, so it's going to be a little difficult for me to do any more than just give you the idea. But it's the same idea as what you're faced right here. You're creating this information so that we can end it up with a closed caption on the lesson. When you're done, you would hit this submit contribution, and at that point it's out of your control. It's sent to me as the manager of this website. It does not go automatically on to the YouTube and the website without an approval from myself or somebody in our group.